For everybody watching, hi, I'm Christopher Ewing, and this is the Stroke Channel. We're located here in Hollywood, California. And I thank you guys for tuning in and watching and being a part of this little webinar here. The reason I wanted to have this today is because of obviously the upcoming Abilities virtual experience, as I'm sure many of you are familiar with, that's coming up, which is kind of an alternate expo, if you will, given everything that's going on in the world. And with us is David Kors, who is the president of the Abilities Expo brand. And when I told him that, when he told me that about what was coming up and things like that, I was just so blown away and so impressed that I said, boy, you should come on and tell everybody about this. And just kind of explain how the Abilities Expo or the Abilities virtual experience, I'm sure you've tripped over it many times, David. It's kind of a new way to kind of think and things like that. But I really, first of all, have to applaud you, David, and kudos to Lou and the rest of the team for kind of hitting the ground with this really great alternate idea of, making something happen in the midst of nothing happening here in the world. And I think it's a really great alternative for all of the exhibitors to be able to showcase their products and things like that to all of those who love the expos and love attending them. So I'm going to shut up so you can explain I'm going to give you the virtual floor so that you can can explain the Abilities virtual experience. So take it away.
Chris. Well, good morning on Saturday, everybody. I guess necessity is the mother of invention. It's been since February since we've actually had an Abilities Expo. And it's been a little tumultuous. We had to postpone our May 1st event to August, and now that's been moved back to May of next year for the New York Metro event. COVID kicked Chicago in the face, and we moved it from June to July, and now it's to June of next year. Our Toronto event was going to be May 29th, and now it's October 1st. And even our Houston event went from July 31st to October 30th. And don't know what's going to happen. We've been getting calls from exhibitors and sponsors and visitors saying, can you help us connect? There's nothing happening. How do we keep things going? Can you guys think of anything? And Chris has heard the story, so I apologize for hearing it again. Lou and I have been aware of virtual expos for the last 25 years. They've been around a long time, and we hate them. Cartoon booths, little cartoon avatars walking down the aisles, just trying to make it look like a cartoon trade show. And several things we didn't like about them. But we realized that doing something digitally made good sense. We're doing this digitally now with Zoom. So we tried to find a way that we could kind of give people an opportunity to connect. We did not want to call it an expo. So we tried to think of everything we could do to make it non-expo-like. So exhibitors turned into sponsors, booth space turned into a presence, a floor plan turned into a map, just trying to make it non-expo so we didn't create expectations. Most virtual exhibitions require the exhibitor to staff their booth. Somebody has to be standing by their monitor or their digital device in case somebody comes by with a question. We didn't want to do that. And we didn't want to host live webinars like this one because we didn't know how many people were going to show up. And whether it's 4 people or 4,000 people, we didn't want to have technical issues. And we looked at some research that told us that people consumed on-demand content more readily sometimes at their convenience than live content. Chris is a good example. He's recording this in case somebody wants to look at it later. There are only the 5 of us who are participating right now. We found a company that did a trade show digital floor plan tool that turned out we could turn a little sideways. And Missy, you're already doing this. So we're very excited that Cat Tongue is involved. So this will be old news for you. So anyway, we found a piece of software, we turned it sideways. And,
it's great to hear the evolution. So we're going to be part of it, but I'd love to hear the backstory. So
this is how it happened. So we've this company is called ExpoCAD, and they actually provide software platforms for companies like ours to manage their business, whether it's a floor plan or sending an invoice or whatever it does. And we were not customers of theirs. We have somebody else's software we use, but we know the company, we know the CEO, and he's done some wonderful things for us. So I'm going to share my screen in a second, and I'm going to show you a couple different things. I'm going to show you how we started this, and then I'll show you what it looks like now. So if I can figure that, this is the screen share, and if I can click on that, and hopefully, he said, there we go. So you probably all can see my Zoom screen there?
Yes.
All right, so instead of that, what you're seeing now, I hope, looks like a trade show floor plan. The big exhibitors are in front and the little guys are in back. Is that, everybody seeing that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Great. So this was the basic thing that ExpoCAD did. And they put this demo together just so we could call people like Missy and say, hey, this is what it's going to look like, but different. We created a couple things. We knew we wanted to offer the workshop experience that you have at a regular show. So this is just a placeholder on the left, but we're going to we're in the process of taking 12 of our most popular workshops with our most popular speakers. And Christine from our team, who manages all of that activity for us on site, is in the process of doing these kind of Zoom meetings and recording those 12 workshops. Instead of being 45 minutes long, they'll be 20 to 25 minutes long, so they'll be easier to digest. Because they're not live, if you click on one of the workshops which are not yet loaded, for example, John Morris is going to do accessible travel for us. So when you look at this list of 12 and you say, oh, accessible travel, I want to hear more about that, click on that, you'll see John's picture, you'll see a bio of John, and you'll see a giant contact me button. So you can listen to John's webinar at your own convenience during the 3 days of the experience. And if you have a question for him, because it is not live, you can just click contact me and send John an email saying, hey, I have a question about this. You know, who's better, Royal Caribbean or Princess? Whatever your question might be. And John will respond to that in his own time within a day or two. So all 12 workshops are consumable on demand at your leisure. The other thing that people experience at the shows are our events arena, where you see adaptive dancing and adaptive sports and service animal demonstrations and all this weird and wonderful stuff. And so we're doing the same thing. We're going to have several of our demonstrators linking to YouTube content. So you can see Auntie Angel dance, you can see the Rolettes dance, you can see adaptive skateboarders and wheelchair rugby and all that stuff. And if you have an interest in becoming an adaptive skateboarder, hit the contact me button and ask questions and they'll respond to you and how you can get involved. So those parts of the Abilities Expo experience will be done digitally on the experience here. We then created 3 levels of sponsorship. And some of you may know Lou, my partner. He is a wild-haired, crazy, Mr. Creative, never did anything he couldn't be more creative than you. And we said, Lou, name these 3 levels. The only thing you can't do is call them bronze, silver, and gold, because I get nauseous every time I see that. And after a lot of trial and error, he came up with the most pedestrian names he's ever come up with in his life. So we have good, better, and best. Sounds like Goldilocks and the 3 Bears. Mm-hmm. If you see the way I roll over these, you'll see that if I roll over Toyota up here, that's the good level, the better level, and the best level. And it's just different sizes of digital real estate and different lists of assets. So to take you through it, before I show you the real thing, I'm just going to go to Brawnability. All 3 of these, by the way, are make-believe. They're real customers of ours. They let us use their names and likenesses for the purposes of the demo, but this is not what's really happening. So this is the digital real estate that someone would have at a best level, but for all 3, it's the same. So this first field, this is company, address, phone number. It's a linkable URL, linkable social media, and all the social media, we just put these 2 as placeholders. But if you have Instagram or Twitter, whatever you have is here. This add to my expo has been changed to add to my experience, and it's simply a list of favorites. If you want to come back in the middle of the 3 days, it'll be waiting for you. And their logo is up here. So this is kind of the same for everybody, no difference. At the better and best levels, you also have a downloadable option, whether it's a PDF, it's a Word doc, something you want as a leave behind for people who come visit you. That's at both the better and best level. The next is the who you are, the company profile. At the better and best level, it's 150 words. At the good level, it's 100 words. And it is linkable content. So you see right down here, latest news from the driving force, that is linkable back to the Brawnability website. So it does not have to be kind of boring and static. At the best level, there is a video asset that sits here. And by video asset, it's up to you. This could be a live webinar. It can be 1 to 2 o'clock on Saturday. We're going to talk about X, just like the one we're having right now. It could be a pre-recorded webinar. It could be a live streaming, you're going to have a pop-up dance party in a shopping mall. It could be a YouTube video you've pre-recorded, but it's right here, it's yours to use however you wish. The next part, the ExpoCAD people had some fun with. At the better and best categories, you can have up to 4 different contacts within your organization. At the good level, it's 2. Carol Burnett does not actually work for Brawnability, but they just had fun and put her picture here and Tiger King and all that kind of stuff. The meat and potatoes of this digital real estate are called product showcases. And at the good level, you get 2, and at the better and best level, you get 4. It's a photograph and linkable copy. So in the case of this one, it's talking about rear entry and side entry and Chevrolet Traverse and conversion are all linkable content along with a photograph. So here are 4 different examples of what Braun might choose to talk about as product showcases. It's a real opportunity to, again, meat and potatoes for the product or service a company has. And then for the best and better levels, there are 2 more video assets. Same thing, live webinar, live streaming event, pre-recorded webinar, YouTube video. It's to use as the sponsor likes. So the best category gets 3 video assets and the better category gets 2. The good category doesn't have any. So this is what the best assets would look like digitally. And the other thing, the advantage of best over better and better over good is the size of the digital footprint on the floor plan. So you can see that best is larger than better and better is larger than good. You'll also notice at the bottom there's some banners that scroll, and those are included for the better and best categories, not for the good. So that was kind of the demo site. Missy, you've seen this before. This is where we were playing show and tell, saying this is not what it's going to look like, but this is sort of what you get, until we actually finished the site, because this whole thing happened over a period of about 4 weeks. So from that concept, welcome to the Abilities experience, or the virtual experience. This is the live map, which is only available to sponsors because they're using this to complete their sponsorship. And the first thing you'll notice is because it's not a trade show floor plan, it's a more normal digital event. The big guys are on top, not at the bottom, and then the middle guys, and then the smaller guys. So it really is kind of a Goldilocks approach to things. So we've limited to 12 the number of best packages, and they are sold out. And what you're seeing here is this is the difference between New Motion, who is confirmed. These are all contracted sponsors, but they haven't completed any of their content yet, as opposed to Freedom Motors, who just signed up yesterday and has already been on site. So you can see their paragraph is there. And if I click on them, they've gotten started. The one thing that we've added that you didn't see in the demo, this Contact Me button. So that if somebody has a question for Cat Tongue Grips or for Freedom Motors, they're going to click here. And if it was Cat Tongue, Missy would get an email someone saying, hey, I got some questions. Can you reach out to me, please? So this is what Freedom has done so far. They've done a company profile, but they haven't done their product, featured products. They haven't done any videos, but they literally just got confirmed yesterday. So it's becoming real. So only 4 of the people who have done the best have started filling things in yet. Then we have the betters down here and the best below. And in some cases, the best have started. So I can tell because if I roll over Help Hope Live, I can see the paragraph, but that's all that Kelly's had a chance to do yet. She hasn't added any photographs. So these are works in progress. This will not go live till 8 o'clock in the morning Pacific time on 2 weeks from today, on the 19th of June. So if you're a sponsor, you can actually see this. If you're a civilian, you can't. But we have 2 weeks to get this done. But this gives you a sense of what it's really going to look like. However, what I really want to show you here, or also want to show you, that's the landing page. This is how you get onto the site. So if you're a visitor and have registered for the site, this is where you come. And you have several different choices. What we just looked at is the map, not the floor plan, because that would be a trade show. Nomenclature, this is a map. So that's where we were already. But you can also look at a sponsor list. And this is an alphabetic list by category, showing all the people that are involved. So you can look at it this way. You don't have to look at the map. Or you can do a category search. Those are all the different categories, exactly the same categories we have at the expos. And as a sponsor, you would click all the categories you fall into. So if somebody does a category search, it is a keyword search. It's not just the category, but if I'll use the word lift, and I'll pick on Missy. Missy, if you had the word lift in your description, you'd populate in that category. It would show cat tongue grips under lips, which would be really confusing, but it would be there. And if you want to look at just the workshop list, it would be here. And the things in the virtual events arena, it would be there. And the screen reader version is to the right. So this is where you land, and this is how you get into the site. And in terms of cost, because everybody wants to know that, yeah, I'm sorry.
This is how someone who's signed up for the experience will come in.
This is where they'll land when they click on the experience.
This is kind of the lobby, I guess.
And do they get like some sort of password? I mean, do they just have a link that they go into and then they're in, or how did you manage that?
Well, we're registering the pre-registrants exactly as we do for the shows. So you have to fill out my name, my address, my email address, same demographics. Are you a person with a disability? Are you a family member? Are you a healthcare professional? How'd you hear about us? That's exact same kind of stuff. And we'll do that all the way up to opening. And we're using the same registration company that we use for the shows. So we keep the same mix and match demographics. Once the show opens, we'll get rid of that layer. But you still have to register with ExpoCAD. And all we need to know is your name, where you are, city and state and country, and your email address. We won't get all the extra demographics because we don't want to slow people down once the show is open. But once you do that, we know who you are. It'll come right to here. For sponsors, at the end of the show, you'll get analytics just like you would from any other website. So we'll get Google Analytics, how many people visited, how deep they went in your site, did they click on this, did they click on that? And if they hit the Contact Me button, even though you'll have already gotten their email address and you can save it, you'll get a report of all the email addresses and where those people live.
That's actually an advantage over the in-person. That's pretty cool.
Well, the problem is we used to do badges for people with QR codes so you could do scanning and get that information. And we found out that people got really impatient having to wait for the badge to print. Mm-hmm. Not only the visitors, but exhibitors said, why are they in line out there? Why aren't they on the show floor? But because we only get one person to register per family, so I register, but I bring my wife and my 3 kids with me. Only David's registering. And suddenly my wife gets a badge that says David Course, because I don't know who she is, because I don't make her register. and that became confusing for exhibitors. So it's actually easier here. At the show, we will tell you we had this many people because Sally got registered as my wife as a +1, another adult. So we knew 2 people came. Here, we won't know how many people are sitting in. So I'm registering. I may have 76 people with me, but only I registered. So there's kind of a pass along viewership. We won't really know other than asking the question, did more people come?
Was it a cost to register?
No, it's free.
That's great.
Absolutely free. And I'll talk about that in a second. So this is where they'll land. And then they can mosey around and they can come back as many times in those 3 days as they want. But we'll only count them once because we know it's the same person coming back. So we won't talk about how many we won't click a little thing every time somebody comes in, no matter, it'll be unique individuals who are coming in. So for the good packages for for-profit companies, it's just under $1,000, $995. For the better package, it's $1,495. And for that $500, you get so many more assets. And for the best packages, before they ran out, it was another $500 at $2,000. And then for not-for-profits that want to join us, we're cutting the price in half. So it's only $500 for good, and it's only $750 for better. So that's kind of what we're doing from the sponsor side. I'll tell you how we're doing on pre-registration. I guess when this started, we were thinking if we could get 3,000 or 4,000 people to register for this, that would be pretty darn cool, and I'll get rid of that. And if we'd gotten 5,000 people, we would have been doing cartwheels and backflips and thinking we were pretty cool. We have 2 weeks to go, and as of yesterday morning, because we're tracking this by the day, we were just over 8,800 pre-registrants so far. They've been coming in at 500, 600, 700 a day, which is kind of mind-boggling. Now, we don't know how many of those are actually going to be there, and this is one, I think the expression is swag, sort of a swinging wild-ass guess. This whole exercise experience is a swag. We're trying something, trying to fill a need. This could be a smoking crater in the ground, and none of you will ever hear, will deny it ever happened. And say, what, Xperia? I have no idea what you're talking about. Or we'll brag about it and say, boy, were we cool and what? And
I think it's going to be a success.
I hope so. And if it is a success, we'll see what worked and what didn't work as well, and we'll try and improve. Don't know if we do this quarterly, once a year, every 20 minutes. We may do shadow events when we do the Houston event. Maybe there'll be a virtual Houston event for people who can't actually get there, just for people in Texas. I don't know. We're making this up literally as we go along. So that's it.